Hi, I'm Jack Canfield. You may know me as the co-author of the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, the author of the Success Principles, and a featured teacher in the movie The Secret. And I'm here with a longtime friend. We've been mentors to each other. I just love this man, James Malinchak. Nice to be with you again.
Hey, Jack. Glad to be here. Thanks for being here.
James is someone whose work I've followed for years, knows more about marketing and speaking and sales and leadership and just about any other topic you could name. I think you're the Wikipedia of the human potential movement in terms of how we get the word out to people. So thank you for all of that. I know there's a lot of people who would thank you for that. And I've been in James's house interviewing people, and I have to say, and this is a testimony to you, that they're some of the most fascinating, interesting, intelligent, articulate, game-changing, world-changing people I've ever met. And it's a testament that you attract people like that into your life, and then I get the honor of spending some time with them. So now we're turning the tables. I'm going to interview you.
First, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's very nice.
You're welcome. You have just been doing phenomenal things, and I'm curious now, out of all the things you've done, all the books you've written, you did a Chicken Soup for the Soul book with us, you have all of these books with these amazing millionaire secrets and so forth. What are you up to now? What's on the horizon for you?
Well, about 18 months ago, I sort of like drifted into retirement. You know, I kind of hit all these goals I wanted to hit in my business and said, you know what, I'm just going to kind of cruise a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then I started to realize that I have a gift, and that gift is to help people with their message, their story, their how-to advice, and actually how to get that out, and not only to have impact on folks, but also to have influence over a mass number of people, but then also to create income for yourself. Mm-hmm. And so I got reinvigorated and jazzed up, and so what I've got over 20-some speaking courses that we're about to roll out online.
20.
Over 20, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and all different aspects of speaking. And so what I'm so excited about now is trying to help folks who have this message, this story, this how-to advice, but how do you actually get paid for all that? You know, there's a lot of folks that have amazing messages that don't make it in the speaking industry. And it's not because they're not good presenters. It's not because they don't have a heart of gold. It's not because they don't want to make a difference in the world. It's because they haven't learned that there's actually a second side of speaking, and it's called the business. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think I've gotten pretty good at that. You know, when I started, I was so broke. I was working in a video store, Montrose Video in Montrose, California, making $7 an hour, because I just believed that if I had a good heart, had a message, and wanted to help people, that I would just naturally get booked as a speaker. And nothing could be further from the truth, right? I mean,
so true.
I mean, if nobody knows about you, they can't, you know, invest in your great work and bring you in to talk to their folks. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like if you have a seminar. You can have the greatest teachings in the world, but if you can't get butts in the seats, then there's nobody there for you to teach, right? And nobody to impact, which also means you make no income. So I realized that when I was making that $7 an hour working in the video store that, you know, I've got great passion. I want to help people. I want to tell my story. I want to impact people in the world. But why am I not getting booked? And then I started thinking, well, it's got to be because of me. You know, and I think that's what a lot of people now go through is if I'm not getting booked, then there's something wrong and maybe I should just throw in the towel and walk away. And I was at that point. You know, because I had to pay the rent. So when I realized something, the turning point for me was when I realized that, you know, there's this second side of the coin. You know, the first side is making a difference, changing people's lives, you know, delivering your message. But the flip side of the coin is it's actually a business.
Right.
And no one, you know, told me that when I got into it. I heard things like dream big and you'll get booked. Right? And I'm dreaming big and I'm like working in a video store. I heard speak with passion, and I'm like walking around the video store at late at night when no one's in there speaking with passion, but I was never like doing that for an audience because I couldn't get booked. And, you know, just tell your story and be a messenger and everything will take care of itself. And I'm like, this is a load of crap. I am broke in a video store. And I had a mentor who said to me that, look, if people don't know about you, they can't book you. And if they can't book you and pay you, then you're not really making an impact because you're going to keep working in that video store. And that's when I figured out that, look, it all comes down to the marketing aspect. You know, I have an acronym ABM. That stands for Always Be Marketing. That does not stand for Awesome Bowel Movement. Always be marketing. Okay. And so, I just became so interested in that and became literally a bulldog about it. And I said, I need to learn everything I can. It just makes sense. If people don't know about me, they can't book me. So I decided right then and there to become very good at getting people to know about me. I never said that I was a better speaker than everybody else. There are so many speakers out there way better than me. But I always say, look, if I could get to the people who control the budgets and get them to pick me before you do, I'll win. It doesn't mean I'm a better speaker. It just means I figured out this business side. And so that's what I'm up to now. I'm on this like crusade, this mission. I'm fired up again. I'm jazzed up. And you know, it's funny, I put a couple posts on Facebook, you know, that I'm back kind of thing. And people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. Like, you know, you're the only one that actually taught me how to do this business side of it. And so that's what I'm fired up and juiced up about.
Now you talked 20 courses.
Yeah. Oh, 21 actually.
21,
yeah.
21. All right. We're in Vegas. We're in Vegas. 21, 21. We like 21. All right. So talk about a few of those. Like, give us some background, some information.
Most people don't even realize that there are so many different aspects of speaking. So, for example, I started in the college and university market, which is one of the most overlooked, most lucrative markets out there. And it's one of the greatest markets because you get to impact young leaders who will be our future leaders of this world, right? You get to train them while they're in school. And how cool is that you actually could get paid doing that? You know, when I first started, give you an example, in the college market, I did 70 or 80 for free, just riding around Southern California talking, you know, hoping somebody might give me $10 for my book because I never knew they actually paid. There was a guy, after I had done all these, he said, do you know we actually pay people to come in and talk like you just talked for free? I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that before? I would have charged you something. The fact is, I didn't know. So when I figured that out, I mean, I went on and I made a fortune speaking in the college market, helping so many kids and faculty members. And so one of the courses is how to get booked for colleges and universities. Most people don't even know that there are 17 departments on a minimum at every college and university that have budgets to bring in to speak. I didn't know when I started. That's why I was doing free talks. So I have one for how to, what I call become a big money speaker for colleges and universities, how to become a big money speaker for youth, speaking for K through 12. Then there is the corporate and association market. I mean, you and I were just talking, you know, off camera, right. And I was sharing one of my strategies on how it literally turned into a $2 million strategy, you know, just by doing simple mailings to the right people. So there's how to get fee paid for corporate. Then there's those who don't get paid a fee, but they could do what's called speak and offer or speak and sell. I have a course on that. I have a course on how to run your own seminar. I had 150, I think, people come to Vegas, and I taught all of them how to run a seminar over 2.5 days. So we've got that course. I mean, it's just every aspect of speaking, I kind of broke it down and chunked it into its individual intensive learning.
Now, I know money's important to you because you talk about being a big money speaker, but I know that's not the only thing that motivates you. And I feel your passion and you're fired up again. Why so passionate to help people do this?
You know, because the greatest thing that I get from especially a coaching student or somebody at my event is when they come up to me and they say, thank you, you know, because of you, I'm actually putting my kid through school, or I was going to quit, you know, because we just couldn't make ends meet. And I thought, you know, well, this speaking thing doesn't work, or the economy's bad, and you taught me how to actually get in front of the right people. My speech didn't change. You just taught me how to get those people to know about me. And, you know, we got out of debt, or I'm putting my aging parents, you know, I'm paying for them, you know, for elder care, you know, and that's the biggest thrill, you know. So not only do I help, what I love is I help people to get their message out, which they're passionate about, and to tell their story and to talk to people and impact them, but they actually realize now that they can make it. You know, one of my favorite stories is a friend of yours too, Julie Carrier. She's in your book.
That's right.
She's in the Success Principles, right? When I met Julie, when she came to my event, gosh, over 10 some years ago, she actually was looking for quarters in her couch to get on the metro train in DC. That's how broke she was.
I had no idea that
Oh
was
yeah,
true. Yeah.
yeah. She was referred to me by someone else, said, look, if you really want to learn how to do this thing, then you need to go see James. So she scraped and at the time my event was $2,500 to attend. And she scraped every last dime she had.
A lot of quarters.
A lot of quarters. Because it wasn't that she didn't have a great passion. She probably is one of the people that wants to help people more than anybody I've ever met. I mean that sincerely. I think she truly believes God put her on this earth to just go impact young people and educators. And so it wasn't that she didn't have the heart. It wasn't that she didn't want to help people. It wasn't that she didn't have a good message. It wasn't that she was a bad speaker or anything like that. She just didn't know the flip side of the coin. She thought that if she had a big mission, a big why, and she thought that if she really had this purpose and mission on earth to help people, that she would magically get booked. She blew through her life savings in 6 months, had no money. This was her last-ditch effort. Came to my event, and now she's one of the most booked speakers for young women. Actually, she just texted me today, right before we got on this interview, and said, hey, I got to show you this. Look at me speaking for the UN, for all these women and all these young girls from all around the country. And it's thanks to you. I wouldn't be doing this if you didn't teach me how to actually get them to book me. She's been on MTV as a positive role model for the TV show Made. She has brought out her great book, Be Beautiful, which means you are beautiful on the inside. She was in your book. Right. She was on the Today Show. Now, all that happened because if you trace it back to the seed was I taught her how to run a business and how to get yourself booked. And it all came down to, Julie, if they don't know about you, they can't book you and you can't impact people. So my biggest thrill is when people are allowed to go live their mission and do what they believe they were put on this earth to do, which is to speak and share their mission. And they can actually keep doing that because I taught them how to actually make money. That's why it's called Big Money Speaker, so that they could support themselves, pay their bills, and keep living their God-given mission.
I love it. Now, you are unique in a certain way. There are a lot of people out there saying they can help speakers fill seats and get coaches, get clients, and all of that, but you're doing something, the way you go about it's a little unique. So talk about how you're different from all the other people out there that are making these same kind of promises.
Well, some of the stuff actually irritates me because they do a few talks and now they feel they have the right to go and teach other folks, or they rehash stuff, and that kind of irritates me. I've done 3,000 presentations. I've done 1,000 business consultations. I've done over 20 books, now 21 courses. Okay, I've given you ideas.
You have.
Your staff, your Patty, your CEO. I've helped folks from various TV shows. Brian Tracy, I'm so blessed, called me a legend. I thought that was something cool until I realized, wait, that just means you're old.
Well, you could be a legend. Michael Jordan's not that old.
But, but what gets me, I don't care if you've been doing this for a long time. I don't care if you're brand new. I just want people to live their mission and be able to do that because they have a sustainable income. And what makes me a lot different than most people, there's a lot of folks who've been there, done that. Well, I've been there and done that, and I'm still doing it. I actually invite my students to come and watch me speak. Watch me talk to the event coordinators. If I'm doing a speak and sell, come to the event. Let me show you my PowerPoint. Let me tell you why this is here, this is here, this is here. You're going to watch me. I'm going to have lunch with you after. I'm going to quiz you on what you learned. I mean, I actually tell people, come watch me speak, because I'm still doing it. I'm still booking talks. So that makes me a lot, and for high fees, by the way. So that makes me a lot different than most other folks. And so, and I've pretty much, I've done 4 aspects of speaking. So fee-paid speaking, done millions of dollars in that. Speak and sell, millions of dollars in that. Run my own coaching program. When I started a coaching program, I said I was going to start a coaching program working out of my spare bedroom in my house. And I'm going to challenge myself. I had no certifications, no training whatsoever. I said, I'm going to make $1 million in 12 months or less. And I did $1.4 million in about 11 and a half months. And I never ran a coaching program before. So I have that experience. And then running my own seminars. I mean, you've been a guest speaker at my seminars many times. We've been running these for years. So I've done all 4 main aspects of speaking and done very, very well financially in all 4 of them. So that makes me different than everybody else out there. And just look at my testimonials.
Oh, they're amazing. I mean, I just had an awareness as you were talking. You were talking about you started out in a video store.
Yeah.
Here I am asking you, what's the next step in your career? And it's making videos.
Oh, and I never thought of
You're
that.
going full circle, dude.
I've never thought of that. Wow. Maybe I need to get my own video store now.
There you go. Well, you'll have an online video store,
I've
I'm
never
sure.
thought of that.
Isn't that interesting?
That is very,
Yeah.
wow. That's a aha moment right there for
There
me.
you go. Well, it was for me when I had a thought. Anyway, so
Never thought of that.
you want to think about it some more? Let me know when you're ready to go on.
That's an epiphany for me. That's a pivotal moment right there.
It is. It is.
Wow,
It is.
I've told that video store story so many times.
Yeah.
Never thought now, like it's coming full circle. We're going to be training people all over the world on video.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So you have all these people coming to you that want to be speakers, paid speakers.
Sure.
Professional speakers, people that survive and thrive rather than just sit around and wish they could. What are some of the challenges you see they have that they're, I'm sure there's some common themes and challenges that your students have. What are they and how do you address those?
The biggest one is, first they have a money hang up, and I know in your great work you probably deal with this a lot. They think, well, I shouldn't be paid, I'm just talking, or like, shouldn't I, or they'll hear this from people, like, you should be doing this, if you want to impact people, you should be doing it for free.
Right.
And I said, well, Celine Dion doesn't sing for free. And she's living her passion and she's impacting people, but she's also paid, right? So there's nothing wrong with getting paid for doing something you love as long as you're delivering on what you promise and you're making a great impact. So the very first challenge I always have to overcome is that money is not a bad thing when you're speaking and getting paid. As long as you're living your mission and you're helping people.
Do you find too that most people think they're not worth what you actually get them to charge?
Yeah, that's another challenge, which is everybody I've ever met, I mean this sincerely, they are, and a lot of them I don't get to meet them when I'm teaching my event. But I say this ahead of time, and I say, look, I haven't had the privilege of meeting all of you yet and learning about you, but I know something for certain. Every single one of you are undercharging for your time, knowledge, experience, wisdom, expertise, and how you make a difference in someone's life. I guarantee you right now. Because it's hard for us to fathom that, right? Because again, I'm just talking, or I tell these stories all the time. And
doesn't everybody know this already?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to pay me? I remember when I did my first speaker training, I thought $1,000 to come to that training. Who in the heck is going to pay me $1,000 to learn how to speak at colleges? I just couldn't fathom somebody would want to do that, because to me it was common sense, right? But common sense and common knowledge is not common practice to everybody. So that's a huge challenge, that they undervalue what they do for people, and therefore they price themselves low rather than what a market will pay for their services.
Yeah, I had an awareness recently. One of the people I co-authored a book with started a $100,000 a year coaching program.
Yeah.
And I said, how did you get to the place where you could ask for $100,000 for 1 year? And she said, at first I had to actually pay that to somebody so that I realized somebody's worth that and that I'm worth that. And I think that, a lot of times people look at courses like we do and they think they're too expensive. Why are you charging so much money? Right. And the value's there. Obviously, if someone pays $10,000 for a course or $25,000 for a course and goes back and makes another $300,000, that's a pretty good investment.
Oh, sure.
But most people are afraid to pay that. And one of the things I say to people, if you're not willing to pay that, you're unwilling to charge that. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. There was a time way back in like 2004, I got my first chance to speak on a stage where I wasn't paid, but I was able to make an offer. And I was so excited. There were 500 folks there, and I did that, and I gave my heart into this 60, 70-minute talk, made the offer, not one person bought. Not one person. Oh, people came up and said, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I took 7 pages of notes. And I said, great, you coming to my training? No, I'm going to go to someone else's. What? Or like, I've been coming to these for 3 or 4 years, man. I learned so much in your one session there. Awesome. You coming to my training? Nah, I'm going to go to this person's. And I'm like, what are they talking about? What's wrong with this audience, right? So I was standing there thinking that. It was at the Marriott at Los Angeles Airport. And I remember thinking, what is wrong with this audience? And then one of my mentors' words rang through to my ear. And he says, look, in every situation you can be bitter or better. You can't be both. Which one are you choosing? So I thought to myself, well, maybe 500 people aren't wrong. There's only one common denominator. Maybe it's me. Right? Maybe I didn't do something right. I didn't communicate it in the right way to where they saw the value and wanted to invest in my program. So I went on a quest, Jack, for like the next 18 months. I invested over $100-some thousand, went to every trainer you could imagine, from real estate to watching hypnotists to, stock market speakers, and I learned from every book, every training. And I was like, oh, you know what? I don't actually know how to speak. I know how to speak to help people, but I don't know how to speak to get them to see the value to want to invest in my program. Mm-hmm. And so I invested over $100,000 way back when in myself. I didn't plan on $100,000. It's what it accumulated to. Mm-hmm. And if I hadn't done that, we wouldn't be sitting here today. None of the blessings that I've had in that aspect of speak to sell, would have never ever happened. And we've done $1 million in 2 hours. So to go from nothing to that, was it worth that $100,000?
Absolutely. Now we're talking about challenges. We said money, consciousness around money. Yeah. What are some of the other challenges?
Another one is marketing, because here's what everybody. I don't want to market because people think I'm icky, or I don't want to be like that used car salesman like in the movies, right? The guy with the toothpick and the gold sunglasses and the shirt open with the chest hairs grabbing at you, and if I market, I'm gonna be looked at as a sleazy sales guy, the real cool macho dude. And what I say to folks, getting back to Julie, this was the big breakthrough for her. What I say to folks is marketing is not something you do to people. Marketing is what you do for people. Because I always ask, do you believe in what you're talking about, your message? And they always say yes. I say, do you believe that it does what I call AIMS, A-M-E, adds value, makes a difference, and enriches lives? And they always say yes. I said, well, then why wouldn't you want everybody on the planet to book you? Or everybody on the planet to buy your book or buy your course? If you are making a difference in people's lives, you're adding value, you believe in it, you're enriching their lives, why don't you want everybody to have it? If you don't believe in your stuff that way, go get some new stuff that you could actually believe in. But if you believe in your stuff and you believe it changes people's lives, makes a difference in their lives, enriches their lives, why don't you want everybody to know about you? Mm-hmm. So when you market, you're not manipulating or being slimy. When you market, you're doing something for people if you believe in your stuff that way. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. That little shift in her mind has led her to, mail out brochures, to call people back, to do the right things, to get tons of bookings. And I'm talking speaking for youth. She's gotten $30-some thousand checks for speaking for youth now. That's a long cry from looking for quarters and a couch.
$30,000 checks.
Oh, I have them. She sends them to me because she just can't believe. And it's not. She's gotten better as a speaker. Naturally, you grow as a speaker, but it's because I taught her about budgets and how to find budgets that these groups have that she never prior knew they had. It's just the second side of the coin, the business of speaking.
Money, marketing, any other challenges?
Yeah, it's listen to the folks out there, the noise, what I call the noise. You know how it is. Once you start to have success, you start hearing the naysayers out there, or the folks who try to tear you down. You're successful now, and now you don't talk to me, or friend Darren Hardy with Success Magazine, he has a great line. He says, the higher up the flagpole you climb, the more your ass hangs out. and so a lot of folks cannot take that criticism. So I always say you have to have an immunity to criticism from folks who are jealous of you for advancing past them if you're on the same plane and you start to advance.
Yeah, you're exposing them to their own mediocrity, and they'd rather bring you back down than take the risk to grow.
Rather get that lasso out and pull you down. And I said, they're not your true friends.
Right.
Your true friends will love you, encourage you, support you, try to help you, and help you even go to a higher level. So, but they think for some reason that if you're moving forward, they're moving backwards. So I say you got to watch out for that, criticism, and you have to be immune to it. My pastor said one time, Pastor Judd, he says, you got to be the duck.
The duck?
Yeah. You got to be the duck. When I went on the TV show, I actually had a smear campaign put out on me by somebody I thought was a friend of mine. And so I was talking to my pastor one time, and he said, be the duck. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, what happens when water goes down a duck's back? It just rolls off. Why do you care what somebody like that says?
I remember when you were going through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was upsetting for you at first.
It was, and then I realized, you know what? I prayed for the guy. I felt bad for him. I still feel bad for him. I hope he got the help he needed, because he just lashed out and has done it to many other people too. And you just don't worry about that stuff. You just keep doing the great stuff you're doing, keep moving forward, onward, upward, keep impacting folks, and you can't worry about that nonsense. And
It's true.
you see these politicians and they get in that mudslinging, and I'm like, take the high road, don't say anything, just keep doing what you're doing. They weren't your true friend anyway.
True. Now, I'm leading up to a final question. Is there anything you would like to say before I get there? Anything else you want to add?
Well, I want to say thank you for all the impact you've had on me over the years. I mean, your principles, E plus R equals O, and O, what the heck, go for it anyway. I can't tell you how many times being on stage where I'm not going to make this offer, just something's not jiving, and I'll say, oh, what the heck, go for it anyway. Literally in my mind on stage, and I'll make the offer and everything goes great. So I conjured up this negative thing in my mind, and I appreciate our friendship. You've been wonderful to me for 20 years, and I just thank you and I love you like a brother.
It's been a mutual admiration society. As you said, I've sent my sales team to your seminars and events. Patty, who's now the president of the Canfield Training Group, has come and worked with you, and she's taught some things in your classes.
Yeah,
and she comes back saying, I went there to teach, but I learned so much when he was talking. So I just really appreciate. So my last question is this. If someone's out there thinking, God, I'm a speaker or a wannabe speaker, I got a message I want to share, I would like to either actually get paid or get paid more than I'm getting paid right now, maybe they might have some reservations about that. What would you say to these people?
So I would say that I've been where you are. I made $7 an hour working in a video store. So I get the pain. I understand how you feel like you got this mission, you got this desire, and you got this thrill and exciting potential career to be a speaker and get paid. But you start to doubt yourself because you're like, wow, this is so hard, or it's just not working. So first of all, it's not your fault for thinking that way. Many of us have thought that way. I'm sure. I remember I think your first talk was a bottle of wine or something way back when.
My first talk was $25.
$25.
Yeah, I did get paid once by a liquor distributor shipping wine, which for the amount of my fee. And then I realized that they were giving me their wine at their wholesale price, so I got paid half of what it was worth. But yeah, $25. I drove through a snowstorm.
I remember you saying that.
2 hours, gave a talk to Gruncher teachers, came back, and I went, look, honey, I got paid. I got a check. Now they're way more than that, 1,000 times more than that.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're watching, you're not alone. I mean, Jack got paid $25. I'm sure there were times in your speaking career, but especially with Chicken Soup, you thought about, man, maybe this isn't going to work. Throw the towel.
We didn't hit a bestseller list till I think it was 14 months after the book was published.
What, 144 rejections?
144 rejections. People said people don't buy books of stories. They laughed at. They said.
Yeah.
Literally, I remember our publisher, and I said, here's the deal. He said, I said, how many books do you think you'll sell? He said, 20,000 copies if we're lucky. I remember, if we're lucky.
Wow.
And I said, well, that's not the vision that Mark and I have. And he said, what's the vision? We said, 150,000 books by Christmas and 1.5 million in a year and a half. And he laughed out
Your own publisher.
loud. He laughed out loud at us. And we've all had people laugh at our dreams.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if you're there where you want to make a difference, you want to have influence, but you also want to have income, and you're doubting yourself, we've been there. I've been there. I worked in a video store making $7 an hour. I get where you are, or maybe you're further along and you just kind of you hit a plateau and you can't figure out how to go higher, but you know that you can do better and you can earn more. Boy, let me just tell you that you can do this. You can do it right here, wherever you are in your life, and you can do it right now. You got to understand there's the message, there's the first side of the coin, which is the message, the story, the how-to advice, the making a difference and changing people's lives. And if you just stop there, I'm telling you, you're going to keep spinning around like you're a hamster on a wheel, because you got to understand that there's this second side of the coin. And that second side of the coin is it's called a business. It's not hard. There's just some things you have to do. It's not about working harder. It's not about working smarter. It's about working right. And I can show you how to do it the right way so that you have greater impact, you have greater influence, and you have a tremendously greater income. And that's what I really want to get across, that you can do this. You just need to know the right ways to do this business. And think about this. It's just logical. If people don't know about you, they can't book you. So let's get people knowing about you, and let's make you a big money speaker.
Well, thanks again for this interview. That's really fun. I always enjoy talking with you. This is amazing. This is an amazing guy. I know his work works. As I said, it's influenced our work in our company. I've learned so much from you about selling from the stage, and I could start to list the things I've learned, and we're much better. We're having much more success in every aspect of our business. Because that's not the side I really started out. I was a high school teacher.
Educator, yeah.
An educator, and I wanted to educate. And I remember telling people, I don't want to sell stuff, I just want to educate. And he says, well, you're going to educate some very small rooms.
Educate yourself right out of the
Exactly,
business, right?
exactly. So really, I don't say this very often, but I'll say it now. If you're thinking about this, don't walk, run, and get involved with James and his workshops. And you got this new products, 21 different courses. They're all phenomenal. Make sure you take advantage of them, and you too can be sitting here in a room somewhere where we'll be interviewing you about all of your great success as a speaker. So take care.